Hey, what's up, everybody? BBO44 coming at you in another video. All right, so we got some draft results in front of me here. Um, After all of that, we finally got our draft, and to be honest with you, um, I enjoyed it, but it did have some moments in there that kind of stole the luster from the overall celebration. But all in all, I think it was a good night of drafting. I think some teams got better. I think size was really evident tonight. You saw some super surprises, not just surprises, but ridiculous surprises. Players didn't get traded you thought would get traded. Some guys got felled in some really wacky ways. Let's get into it. First overall pick was obviously Victor Wembanyama. Nothing was surprising there. Miller went 2 to Charlotte. Was very surprised about that. They skipped on Scoot Henderson. Didn't even want to play games with the fit at all, and that was a theme. A lot of teams did not mess around with fits. They did not go against what it was they were planning, no matter what. And I don't know how to feel about that as I assess it in real time. Let's keep it moving. Scoot Henderson went to Portland. No trade. Amon Thompson went to the Rockets. Keep an eye on that, because Amon Thompson went to the Rockets. Okay, that's keep that in your mind. Seward, his brother, went to the Pistons right after that. And that kind of threw the draft off a little bit, if you ask me, because right after that, the Magic took Anthony Black, and that's when all hell broke loose. Once Anthony Black went to the Magic, you knew teams were going to either start taking chances or something was going to be off, because Washington was supposed to get Black all this time, and they didn't get him. Not only that, but you couldn't project what Washington was going to do, because now they need everything. They just blew their team up last minute, so that threw everything off, and they reached for Coulibaly. They took him at 7. I'm not saying I'm not up on Coulibaly being a high draft pick, but taking him at 7 is wacky, like completely wacky to me. But I can see the upside. I like the prospect. I think you're happy to have him, and I find myself saying that a lot. So keep it going. Washington, of course, was the team that took Coulibaly, but ultimately that was Indy's draft pick. Indy made a really savvy move. To make a trade, try to just trade one down, and then took the guy they wanted anyway. And I think they created some salary dump that way. So they ended up getting Walker regardless. I was happy about that. That's the guy who should have went to Indy in my mind. So that all worked out. Taylor Hendricks ended up going to the Jazz. I like that fit a whole lot. I think Taylor Hendricks in Utah is going to be great. And then some weird stuff happened. So I like what Dallas did. First of all, the Dallas Mavericks took 10, traded down, and took Cason Wallace for OKC. Why the hell do you want Cason Wallace OKC? I like Cason Wallace as much as anybody else does, and I definitely don't mind taking him at 10. But having him land in OKC when they got Giddey and SGA and all these other guys that need the ball, all these other dudes that play guard, I don't like it. You're asking him to just kind of play a bench role, and he's better than that. And there are teams who actually needed what he did. So I'm rather pissed off at the OKC Thunder, to be completely honest with you. They didn't need another guard, and they're gonna ask him to just kind of play little spot up roles here and there, and he's better than that. And I don't like it for him, and that's it. Jet Howard went to the Magic at 11. I thought that was a super reach, but I'm not mad at the fit at all. I'm not mad at the fit. I think the fit is great. When you talk about adding Anthony Black and Jet Howard, they got huge. Not only did they get big, they got massive. They are absolutely massive. So understand that right now. The Orlando Magic might be the biggest team in the league. Literally. So, yeah. Keeping it going. Like I said, I like what the Mavericks did. Trading down. Getting Davis Bertans' contract off of their books. So OKC could take on that contract and take another guard. Stupid nonsense OKC's doing. But Mavericks took Derek Lively, pick that I told them that they should have taken, the only pick that made any sense for them the whole time. Not only did they get their guy, but they created an opportunity to get cap space out of there as well. So I think they smoked that. Grady went to the Raptors wearing one of the worst draft outfits I've ever seen in my entire life. But it was red. And it matched the color of the team he's going to be playing for. He seemed excited to go to the Raptors. I don't think nothing other fit. I haven't really given it much thought. It's probably really good. Put it like that. Nothing wrong with it. Hawkins went to the Pelicans. Kind of a letdown. I did not want him to go there. I don't think that's a bad pick, though. Not by any stretch of the imagination. They're going to love having him. He's going to be really, really, really fantastic shooting the ball no matter where he's at. And adding him next to a guy by the name of Trigger Murphy, I think makes him a lethal three-point shooting tandem together. So that can be underrated when you consider the way they're going to be stretching the floor with what they have there in Pelican Land. So keeping it moving, Kobe Buffkin went to ATL, kind of let me down there too. I was hoping the Lakers maybe land him. Pretty sure he wanted to go to the Lakers too, but he's going to be doing his thing in ATL. Once again, another team picking up guards that I don't know. But I did have them taking Jordan Hawkins, so they're so loaded at just about every position but the center position, and there was no centers to take. So all things considered, I like the Kobe Buffkin pickup for Atlanta. I think they did okay. It's just that you don't want to add another guard to that situation, especially somebody who's as ball dominant as Kobe's, as good as Kobe. It's almost like I feel about Cason Wallace. They just don't belong in those places. They don't. They don't belong in either one of those places. But good players just the same. Keontae George goes to Utah. I had no problem with that. I think that he gives them a different dynamic of something that they didn't have that adds to their lethal scoring bunch. And I think Utah really came out of here winners tonight. They definitely did great things in the draft tonight, taking Keontae George and Taylor Hendricks thus far. I think they did good. The Lakers took Jalen Hood-Schifino, and I want to make a whole video about that because, of course, I'm a Laker fan. I don't even want to comment just yet. I'm just going to say we took him, and I'll make a whole video on it. We got Jaime Jaquez at 18 going to the Heat. I really like that pick. He might, like I told others on here earlier, everybody, of course, that Paul Pierce was who I think he plays like to me. A big forward that can do a lot of things for you. I would not be surprised if he is a really high-level role player and he fits Heat culture. He's been on record saying he likes Jimmy Butler, so that all pointed to him going to the Heat. I like him. I think his value got to where they drafted him. You know what I mean? I think if this would have been 2 weeks ago, I'd have been looking at it crazy. But where he's at right now, from what I've been paying attention to, that's exactly where he should have been drafted. So it's a good pick. Very good pick. Podziemski went to the Golden State Warriors. And at first I squinted because I'm like, why is Golden State getting more more shooters, excuse me. Why are they adding more elite shooting? But then I realized they let go of not only one, but two splash guys today. They let go of Patrick Baldwin. That was just announced. He's going to the Wizards to play with Jordan Poole. So in my mind, that's good for the Golden State Warriors to try to find another shooter because they let not one, but two go. And while you don't want to overload yourself on shooting, you also don't want to get to a point where you lose your identity. And the problem that the Golden State Warriors had is that guys like Kuminga and Wiseman didn't necessarily fit that identity. So in my mind, this isn't the worst way to go. When you're letting shooting leave the room and you are the Golden State Warriors, getting another lethal shooter in the draft is probably a good idea. It's probably a very good idea. So I think 4 or 5 years from now, they'll be able to keep their identity with Pod still on the roster if they keep him, along with everything else that they ultimately keep when Steph and Clay and all those guys are gone. So I like the culture fit for sure, no question about it. And then you got Cam Whitmore falling to the Rockets. I tell you, man, I'm gonna have a hard time with this draft and all the people who passed on Cam Whitmore if he turns into what we think he's going to be. Now, I heard his medicals are why he fell. Those medicals better be bad. That's all I gotta say. Those medicals very, very bad, because this looked like one of those situations where, you know how they say when you see one person running and you're not going to ask no questions because they're obviously running from something, so you're just going to take off running? I think that's what just happened there. I think people weren't really asking the right questions. They were married to players that they wanted to draft, and they passed on Cam Whitmore to get the player they wanted, and Cam Whitmore really probably didn't have nothing wrong with him. And now you have a situation where the two most lethal athletes in the draft are in the same team. And that was already one of the most athletic teams in the world before this happened. I don't know what the Rockets' plans are, to be honest with you, in regards to their assets, because I know they're trying to do things like getting Paul George and James Harden. But after tonight, I think they need to really consider not making a single move with their roster. Just bring all of that to you and let it run next year. I'm not certain it won't be one of the best teams in the Western Conference. I'm not certain. Because when you add Amon Thompson and Cam Whitmore to Mark Kmart and Green and Terry Eason and Sengun and Jabari Smith, I mean, this is literally one of the most talented teams ever put together. I told y'all that before they won today's lottery. They did not need to get the 5th overall best prospect in the draft at number 20. Y'all just made the Rockets one of the richest teams in the league today. That is a super team. All they got to do is figure out how to make all of that play up to value, and I honestly don't know how they do it. That's the only problem. I don't know how they're going to get. There's only one basketball, and you got like 9 or 10 kids that could ultimately play their way all the way to all-star level. About 9 or 10 of them. The Rockets need to do some consolidation, and they need to do it rather quickly, because if all those kids come in, it's going to be too many Chiefs. Too many Chiefs, and not enough of what is otherwise going to make them all better. I don't see anybody setting anybody up. The only person who's really doing that is Amen, which is he's going to be one of the most important players, period, because he's going to be the guy that makes it so that all of them get the ball. They have a plethora of talent, man, a fleet of assets that can get them whatever they want. And if they want to build a super team, not only do they have the ability to build a super team, but they can make that team deep. They can make that team deep. If they make the right trades, they can make the team deep. So this is a situation where I'm like, all of you who let Cam Whitmore fall to 20, you don't know what you have done. It didn't even matter if you wanted him or not. You should not have allowed him to fall to the Rockets. You might have given him an NBA championship. Honestly, all of you. So that's what I want to say about that. Anyway, Noah Clowney is going to be going to the Nets. That was one of the only picks that I got right in my mock draft. I had him going to the Nets with 21. And then Tariq Whitehead goes to the Nets as well at 22, which I think is pretty solid. I didn't hate that at all. If you don't mind taking a chance on his foot injuries, which probably are overstated in a way. If you don't expect too much out of him athletically and you want him to be that catch and shoot player, then taking him at 22 is pretty great value if you ask me. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes an all-star team. If he doesn't have injury issues in the first couple of years, he might develop his way up to that level, honestly. So I like what the Nets did, getting Clowney and Whitehead, and that's good use of both of their picks. The Blazers, I was mad at the Blazers. I'm pretty sure half the country's mad at the Blazers for drafting Chris Murray. All they had to do was let him fall one more pick, and he could have been playing with his twin brother. So I just thought they were jerks for that. But they could use a small forward. I guess I didn't really assess it. I just thought they were jerks, honestly. But I think it all worked out because the Sacramento Kings were able to make a trade that I think they were pleased with. They drafted Omax for the Mavs. And so the Mavs are getting Omax. I think the Mavs did fantastic tonight. Walking out of here with Derek Lively and Omax Prosper, I don't think you can do much better if you're the Mavericks when you consider how little size they had and what exactly they walked out of here with. Not to mention getting off from under that horrible contract that they ultimately got out of there with Davis Bertans headed to the OKC Thunder so that the OKC Thunder could ruin Cason Wallace's career with that stupid draft that they did there. That was just stupid. I don't know why the hell they did that. I'm still mad at them. I hope they see it in their heart to trade him before the start of the season so he doesn't get started like those Sacramento Kings guards have been doing with keep taking guards. Another thing, Charlotte, you passed on Scoot Henderson but then drafted 2 more point guards. I never mind. We're going to keep going. So, the 25th pick, the Pistons ended up with Sassar. I'm not sure what his first name is. That's one of the prospects that I wasn't familiar with. But he was originally a Memphis pick and somehow ended up in Detroit. So that's the young prospect that they're bringing into the Detroit basketball situation, along with Asur Thompson. Ben Shepherd went to the Pacers, one of my favorite players that came about a little late in the process of me kind of developing an understanding. of these youngsters, Ben Shepherd was one of the guys that I really liked in the end here, and wouldn't have been mad at my Lakers for finding a chance to get him. But he ultimately ended up with the Pacers, and the Pacers just keep loading up on fantastic prospects that are really, really solid, man. He's just yet another one. I think the Pacers low-key had a very good night. Nick Smith went to the Charlotte Hornets. See what I'm saying? Another guard. Nick Smith does not need to be in no dang Charlotte, man. All the guards they got in Charlotte, you serious? So that's my thing with that. I'm sorry for Nick Smith. I know he was having a hard night tonight, watching his draft stock fall the way that it did, and I don't like where he landed. So this is just a bad night for Nick Smith. Bryce Sensabaugh went to the Jazz. Love that for the Jazz. Another big, huge person that they can add to this situation, along with Taylor Hendricks and Keontae George. Score. Utah's going to be able to put up 180 to 200 points one day. If all these people develop the way they're supposed to, that team's going to be able to score more points than anybody else. I'm just telling you right now. Julian Strother ended up a Nugget. He's going to be playing for the champs there. Indy drafted him for them in a pick swapping situation that took place a couple days ago. And Kobe Brown went to the Clips. I love that pick. The Clippers did a fantastic job using their 30th pick to take Kobe Brown. I think they would be very happy that they backed out of that trade that they did and kept this pick because they landed that player. I'm telling you right now, he could potentially be a game changer. In all honesty, one of my favorite players in this entire draft. Glad he went in the first round. I hate that he went to my evil Clipper rivals, but yeah, he's somebody you feel real good about going forward for them. In the second round, gave us some interesting things. So we'll go straight into that and give you the names there. It got a little weird for me in regards to trying to figure out where these guys went, because honestly, they didn't update it all the way. I did as much clicking as I can to figure out where these guys ended up getting traded. More than half of the second round got traded. Some I got right, others probably not. So I'm just gonna let y'all know what I got here. James Najee went to the Pistons. I don't think he actually landed at the Pistons. I think they ended up trading him, and that's one of the ones I don't know where he went. But I know he went somewhere where they will more than likely need a center. I think he ended up in Boston. I'm going off of memory, but I think James Najee went to Boston by way of the Pistons. Yeah, because I remember that. I was like, why the hell is he going to the Pistons? They don't need a center. And they said, no, he's going to be going to Boston. I'm like, yeah, because Boston wants to load up on big. So, yes, he went to the Boston Celtics. He's going to be helping with Robert Williams. Al Horford's probably out of there unless they just want to load up on bigs even further. They got Kristaps Porzingis. And if I'm not mistaken, no, that was it. That's what they got. So, yeah, they're loading up on centers. They're taking the center thing very seriously. And I think they knocked that out of the park, getting a body like James Najee. That dude is huge, 7'7" wingspan, dunks, runs, just a complete athlete. Gives them all the insurance in the world for Kristaps Porzingis. And, of course, allows them to kind of move on from, as I said, Al Horford and possibly Grant Williams, too. I think Grant Williams probably not going to be returning. James Najee will help just overall keep them huge. So yeah, that's what is going on there. Jalen Pickett is another player that the Pacers drafted for the Denver Nuggets, so he's going to play for the champs as a guard. I'm not familiar with. Leonard Miller ended up getting drafted to San Antonio. I was really excited about that, and then he got traded to Minnesota, and I'm really excited about that because Minnesota don't have a lot of assets. So for them to get a high-level asset in this draft, I think they knocked that out of the park. Well done. Because at the end of the day, what you need is just people who are going to do more than what they're drafted to do. And Leonard Miller should not be coming to you. You didn't have no picks. And for you to turn a second rounder into Leonard Miller, that's an A. You get an A from me, Minnesota. I don't know how you did it, but you got an asset that I think can really help with your flexibility if you develop him properly. And I don't see one reason why he shouldn't be able to develop properly. You put him next to Edwards, next to McDaniels, Rudy Gobert. I just like it. I like it a lot. I would have never thought of it, but I like it a lot. So Kobe Jones goes to Sacramento. He's a really high-level player that I think Sac is going to like a lot. Charlotte was the guys that ended up drafting him for Sacramento, but his landing spot, I believe, is Sac. This one's a little tricky. Julian Phillips, I think his last landing spot is Chicago, but he's been tossed around between the Wizards and the Celtics. But I think that's where he ended up. Julian Phillips, not familiar. Andre Jackson, drafted by the Magic, ends up with Giannis. He's going to be playing with the Bucks. Andre Jackson, a high-level player, kind of had some issues with his medicals, which is why he probably fell to the second round. But I think he's going to be a very high-level player for the Bucks, a team who really needs young assets. So, a little risky going with a guy with bad medicals when you are in such need of young talent. If you're the Bucks. But then again, if you're swinging for the fences in the second round, you want somebody who's likely better than the second round, so to speak. And I think that's what they got here, so long as he can stay healthy. So keep an eye on that. High-level player. Let's see. OKC drafted Hunter Tyson for the Denver Nuggets. Hunter Tyson's a shooter, a guy that I know for a fact will help with Jokic's overall ability to get assists to three-point shooters. They just picked up more guys who can execute the shots that they shoot even better. Catch and shoot guys. They did a fantastic job tonight. The champs did. Just added 3 guys that they know can pretty much slip in and do the same things they already doing. Hitting shots. So, yeah, man. The rich get richer. What else? The Kings drafted Jordan Walsh for the Celtics. Jordan Walsh is another big player, so he's probably going to be the replacement for Grant Williams, if I'm guessing. Just a heavy power forward type dude who does a lot of rebound and stuff like that. Mohamed Gayai, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, probably not, but he ended up a Hornet at 39. And my Lakers ended up with Maxwell Lewis, which I think is a stud of a pick, probably the best pick in the second round, if you ask me, that we traded up for a couple days ago with the Denver Nuggets, and we gave them 47. But yeah, I told you I was excited about 40. My Laker fam, I told y'all, because I knew we were going to probably get somebody at 40 that we would have been happy to get at 17, and that is exactly what happened there. This is Maxwell Lewis. A lot of people thought we were going to get at 17, so there were some people mad at us for passing on him at 17, and we got him at 40. So I think we love that. As Laker fans, we definitely love that. Yeah, Amari Bailey went to Charlotte. Another guard going to Charlotte, not named Scoot Henderson. Stupidity. Tristan Vucevic went to the Wizards. I don't know if he landed there. This is when it starts getting a little tricky for me. I'm not sure if these people landed these places or not. Ryan Rupert, Portland. Interesting prospect. I think they aim for the fences there. If he develops properly, he can help them defensively a lot later on. City Sissoko went to the Spurs. I'm sure Pop will turn him into something. He's up there with Wembanyama. They'll be fine defensively there. A lot of defensive players put together up there. Greg Jackson with the Memphis Grizzlies. Who knows if he landed there? I don't even know who he is. But I think he'll do well, 45, with the Memphis Grizzlies because they develop very well, as we know. Seth Lundy went to ATL. And the Lakers drafted Mojave King with 47 for the Pacers. Mojave King has a hell of a name, but I have no idea who he is. Jordan Miller went to the Clippers at 48. Imani Bates, a famous name, but didn't do well in the draft. He ended up with Cleveland. A long guard, if I'm not mistaken, added to those stilts up there. He's going to have a real role in Cleveland. For all of you Imani Bates fans, he's going to have a role there. He's probably doing better in most of the places y'all would have wanted him to go, because Cleveland don't have no kind of bench at all. And so if he can come in and be a guard or a forward for them, they're going to be minutes for him if they just choose to play him. I don't see any reason not to, as shallow as that team look. So yeah, you should be very happy, Cleveland Cavaliers, that you got one of the more exciting names in this draft, and hopefully he can develop properly. And if you do, you got a steal. Keontae Johnson, I think he went to the OKC Thunder, but I think that he was also traded as well. I thought that was an interesting pick because it spoke on some of his medical history. He had a really bad heart situation on the court back in the day and came back big, strong from it. So we're definitely happy he's back out there. Let's see, 51, Jalen Wilson ended up a net. Tomani Kamara was drafted to the Phoenix Suns, but I think he ended up with the Washington Wizards. I'm pretty sure he was traded in that Bradley Beal trade. Yeah, I'm pretty certain Tomani Kamara. I'm almost certain of that. Jalen Clark went to Minnesota, maybe, possibly. Definitely drafted by them. Julian Slauson drafted to the Kings. Isaiah Wong, another good Indiana Pacer draft pick. Isaiah Wong going to the Pacers is a big deal. I keep telling y'all, they are loading up on very talented players. Last year was Nimhard, and of course the pick that they had, Ben Matherin. Now they're picking up guys like Isaiah Wong. Who else is that? Ben Shepherd. I mean, all my favorite guards. The Walker. I mean, they really cleaned up in this draft, y'all. The Pacers cleaned up nice. So do understand that they are just starting to pile up together really, really, really talented players that you probably don't expect to do a whole lot, but will. So I'm telling y'all, Pacers, I don't know if they'll put it all together. They usually never do. But their asset class is coming together to be something nice. Tariq Biebervik was drafted by the Grizzlies. Not familiar. Tracy Jackson Davis went to the Washington Wizards. I don't know if he stayed there, but he's definitely one of the more known names. I'm surprised he fell this far. And Chris Livingston is the last name drafted, going to Youngstown Bucks, indeed. So that is the draft results. There's a lot to see here, man. I think Texas really cleaned up very nice tonight. All three of the Texas teams did good for what they were trying to accomplish. I think they all did great. Who else? There was some other teams that I like. I like what Orlando did just because they needed to add guards to their team, and they added some massive ones. Jett Howard is 6'8". Black, I think, is like 6'10". One of the best perimeter defensive players Black is. Jett Howard's a fantastic shooter. I mean, it's just nice, hot and cold in your backcourt when you surround yourself with everybody else being 6'10" or taller. I mean, these are the type of guards you want. And you consider they already got Suggs. They probably can get something from him. They got Isaac. They could probably get something for him. You know what I mean? Still got Cole Anthony in place. You really like him. It's just a lot of stuff there in Orlando to like. Obviously, Bol in place, Carter in place, Franz in place, Paolo in place. I love that young team there. I love that young team. They did good things for themselves tonight. It did not get any worse. Who else? The Rockets, of course, won the whole draft. You can't walk out of here with two top 5 overall prospects and the two most athletic players in the entire damn draft. I mean, that's a conspiracy, bro. Are y'all kidding me? Do y'all realize what y'all just did for the Rockets? I don't think anybody realized what they did for the Rockets. I do. You turned them into the most athletic team of all time. Ain't no exaggeration. That's exactly who they are. The most athletic team ever assembled. They got the twitchiest, highest flying athletes in the game all on one team, y'all. It don't even make no sense. They could have been fine if they had no other assets and started with these two players tonight and started building like this. If you would have told anybody 4 days ago that the Rockets was going to get Amen Thompson and Cam Whitmore, man, they would have told y'all the Rockets did something they had no business doing, because that's not supposed to happen. Under any circumstances, that's supposed to happen. So all of y'all who passed on him, who passed on Cam Whitmore, you did not have a good enough reason to pass on Cam Whitmore for him to fall to the Rockets, yo. None of y'all Western Conference teams should have let that happen. So that's what I gotta say. That's a crime, and it shouldn't have been done. And I'm looking at 19 teams, including my very own Lakers, that are gonna have to answer for that if this kid develops the way I believe he will. You're gonna have to answer for that, because ain't nobody told y'all to do that. Okay, nobody told y'all to do that. So that's what I gotta say about the Cam Whitmore pick. I like all these picks. All of you guys got players that fit what you were doing, but there was no reason to let an athlete like that fall like this. I know Zion's acting up, but that should not have any equation at all to what it is that just happened with Cam Whitmore. That should not have equated at all. And I think it actually may have, believe it or not. Just should not happen. Honestly. That's how athletic he is. You don't do that. So that's all I gotta say, man. I like everybody that was drafted before him too, for the most part. It ain't even about that. It's just understanding that half of these dudes don't have the energy he has in his body. Half of them aren't as strong as him. They're just not, bro. They're not gonna dunk a ball twice as fast as him. They're not. You know, at the end of the day, I know it's basketball, but it's also athletics. And all of these teams just betrayed the hell out of athletics when you let that happen. That's just what it is. So that's what I have to say about that in a nutshell. And I'm probably going to say it more than once as we continue to have conversations about this particular draft. OKC trading up to get Cason Wallace, I will never understand that. You just took on a bad contract to bring in a guard when you got nothing but guards. You really didn't need anything, OKC. I'm telling you. If anything, you probably should have traded out of this draft entirely. But nah, not y'all. Y'all traded up to get a bad shooting contract just to pile a really, really talented guard behind a bunch of really, really talented guards. It's just really head scratching, man. Knowing damn well they're not moving on from any of those guards at all. I mean, seriously, anybody moving on from Giddey or SGA anytime soon? You moving on from J-Dub? I'm not. Like, when is this guy going to ever step in? You're rendering him a bench player out the gate. When you can argue he's probably one of the best on-ball defenders in the game if he develops. I just know better. I know OKC got greedy, loved his skill set, and didn't care that they didn't have the role for him. Just didn't care. And that stuff, for me and what it is that we talk about on this channel, angers us. We don't like when teams do that. So that's what I got to say, man. You got greedy, you love the player, but you know you didn't have the role for him. You brought him here anyway. It's trash. And Charlotte, man, Charlotte, I like Miller. I saw what y'all see in Miller. He's got some really, really special stuff. All-star appearances probably will come. He's going to be a 50, 40, 90 guy. Probably all that is going to probably be the case. But here we go again about the same thing in athleticism. You really let Scoot Henderson sit on the board, and you took a guy that wasn't named Scoot Henderson number 2. Are you sure? When you talk about athleticism, you're betraying these things, y'all. Y'all betraying these things. And then you send players out there to play 82 games that can't physically do it, and you blame them for not being good enough. But these are things that you do. You leave Cam Whitmore on the board. You leave Scoot Henderson on the board. I mean, are we sure we know what we're doing? These are the type of things I'm thinking about. You want a guy to make it through 82 games a season and then leave players that are just physically able to do so on the board for guys who can shoot a little bit. They ain't going to be on the floor to do that shooting because they're going to get worn down by that schedule. But go crazy, NBA. Go crazy. So Scoot Henderson goes to Portland. Portland's a team that doesn't want to do what they need to do. So it looks like they're going to try to mimic Golden State and keep 2 timelines going at the same time just to see if it works. Maybe it works because Scoot Henderson's a hell of a talent. Dame Lillard's a hell of a talent. Maybe it works. I don't see any harm in just trying it. Honestly, I don't see any harm. And if for some reason I hate it at the deadline, we could trade Dame Lin at that point. I don't see any harm in it. What's the harm? You telling me Scoot Henderson can't play shooting guard? You telling me You telling me Dame Lillard can't play shooting guard? I mean, I if we can argue that the fit with LaMelo isn't bad, then why can't we argue the fit with Dame isn't bad? I can't argue that. What I can argue is they probably should move Anthony Simons. Move him. But I'm not moving Scoot Henderson, and if I'm Portland, then I'm probably not moving Dame either. So we got a new point guard, Dame. And if anytime you go down, you know we ready to trade you because we got him in place. I don't know if I would have did it, to be honest with you. I probably would have traded Scoot, and I'm not sure they're not still going to trade Scoot. But once you get him in your arena, what ends up happening is your fans fall in love with him. And then you look crazy for letting him go. There's going to be a lot of people who are happy that you got Scoot Henderson. Those same people do not want you to trade Dame Lillard. Those same people don't actually understand basketball in some cases. Something's got to give. And that is what Portland's going to be faced with over the next 2 years. Something got to give. But for now, see what happens. Maybe it works. So what else do I want to see there? The Rockets won the draft. They won the draft. They weren't the only team that did great, but they definitely won the draft, and they didn't even have to try. It was a field full of people just saying, you know what? I just don't want all this. I don't want the talent. I don't want the value. Obviously, somebody knows something I do not know, so let's just keep letting them slide. Just keep letting them slide. Y'all better hope that boy busts in a real way. And judging with the team that he's going to, they may not have the role for him, but he's going to have all the opportunities to do exactly what he does with a bunch of people around him who do exactly what he does, and none of y'all going to be able to stop it. That's God's honest truth. None of y'all going to be able to stop Martin from flying through the air, Green from flying through the air, Whitmore from flying through the air, Sengun from doing whatever he does, including flying through the air, Terry Houston flying through the air, Josh Christensen flying through the air. Like, this goes on forever. I didn't even name everybody. Jabari Smith flying through the air. Who else? What's the other guy? The one that they don't want no more. The super talented guard that they just decided they don't want. What's that kid's name? Bring him to the Lakers. Smith. I think he's a Smith too, right? It's hard to keep up. They got so much talent over there. The point is that very thing. They got so much talent over there. And y'all just let them just happen to stumble onto the guy that you probably should have let him take, who you probably should have took at 5, Pistons. The guy the Pistons probably should have took right after Amen Thompson is the guy they got at 20. So, yeah, 3 years from now, when the Rockets are the best team in the league, dunking all over everybody, creating highlights that make the Clippers look like a team that can only lay the ball up back in the day, you know why? You know why? Because back in 2023, the field literally let them draft the 2 best athletes in the whole damn draft. That's why. That's exactly why. So this was despicable. This was absolutely despicable. I just watched a bunch of teams cower in a situation where they had an opportunity to get a real God level athlete. I'm talking about, like, they don't make guys like this very often. That's why this was so ridiculous. But hey, go crazy, NBA. Go crazy. I'm just watching y'all. I'm watching y'all. And I know you're gonna pay for it. You value shooting more than you value athleticism, and it's not gonna age well. It never ages well. Y'all didn't learn nothing from Jordan Poole at all, did you? None of y'all did. That's what I gotta say. But all in all, I think there were a lot of teams who did some good things for themselves. Like I said, the Mavericks did fantastic. San Antonio obviously did fantastic. Rockets, Jesus. I think the Pacers did very well. Who else? I like what they did. There's a few others too. I think Utah had a good night. Yeah, man. Mavericks really knocked it out the park. I love what they did for themselves. Pacers, as you guys know, I'm a fan of what they did tonight. If I didn't say Utah, I definitely like what the Jazz did. Jazz, Magic. Yeah, some teams did some good things, man. Some teams get some good things. It wasn't an all bad night. Definitely not. My Lakers, I think they did good. I just don't like the fact that we were one of them teams. But the 40th pick value was fantastic. Getting Maxwell Lewis after trading up from 47. Yeah, man. Very happy Laker fan. So that's where I'm going to leave it, man. I'm going to go straight into my Laker video. I've talked enough about this draft. I need to get into my team. I need to talk about what I know, what I don't know, what I think, and all of that. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope everybody enjoyed the draft. Hope y'all enjoyed my content as well. My name is BDL44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.